On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, I'm going to be sharing 4 amazing cars that I would never recommend buying new. What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive. Now, today I wanted to share with you guys a couple cars that I've had my eye on in the used market that I think are just incredible deals, but I would never ever recommend them new. And there's a couple of reasons for that, and I'm going to go into that specifically on each and every one of these cars, but it really boils down to 2 things. Either the car is so expensive that it's not really just a good value for what you're getting when it's new, but now it is because it's cheaper. Or 2, it just takes a massive depreciation hit. Some of these cars are so expensive new, and they're only a couple years old and are less than half their value. Just huge depreciation hits is definitely a huge factor for this kind of thing. But basically what I wanted to do is dive into each and every one of these cars. I have 4 of them for you guys today, and talk about why it makes sense to buy used and it doesn't make sense to buy new. All right, so let's dive into our first contender for amazing used car, terrible new car. And that is none other than the Maserati Granturismo Sport. These cars are phenomenal. I mean, look at it. Just a beautiful, beautiful car. They sound amazing. I've considered buying this car just because how amazing it sounds, especially the sport version with that 4.7 liter engine. Beautiful car, sounds amazing, and you get to tell your friends and coworkers that you own a Maserati. Like, it's pretty much a no-brainer, right? These cars are at least $126,000 new. Like, that is a ton of money. There are so many cars that you can buy for that money that I think are better cars, and it does not make sense to buy this car new, especially when you consider this 2013 model is $55,000. So it's only 4 or 5 years old, and it's already lost at least half of its value, probably much closer to it's a third of its value now. Here's the thing with Maseratis. I think the older cars are definitely pretty unreliable. So, they have that reputation, rightfully so. I do think the newer ones, they've really gotten a lot better. You're chancing it with any car of this caliber to a certain extent, but I think the risk is pretty low, especially like a 2013 model. I believe these came out in 2009 in the US. So, they've had a couple of revisions, and overall they're relatively reliable. Like, still $100,000 plus car when it comes to maintaining it, but $55,000 on the used market. You show up anywhere in that car, no one's gonna, first of all, know it's a couple years old, and it just looks amazing. It's a Maserati. It's just unbelievable. Really cool car. Would never buy it new. So that is our first contender for terrible new car, great used car. Maserati Granturismo. I thought about buying one, actually. Here's our next car that I would like to bring up, and you could probably already see by the text. And I'm going to group a couple cars into this category. I'm going to say most M cars. Now, this is probably going to get me a lot of hate, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure I'm onto something here. So the M2 has held its value really well, but the M3, at least the new ones, the M3, the M4, the M5, the M6, they take huge depreciation hits just within a few years of being on the market. So this is an example of a 2015 M5 that is now $48,000. This is well over $100,000 car new, and it's 3 years old, and it's well under half of the value. These cars are phenomenal. What a incredible daily GT car. They have 500 plus horsepower from a twin turbo V8. What an amazing thing. And they look like any other BMW, but it definitely looks the business, right? It definitely looks like a serious car. This looks like an executive car to me for $48,000. Now, that's an incredible deal. That's a lot of car for the money, but at $114,000 or right around where these cars cost new, no way, dude. I'm going to pay over $100,000 for a 5 Series. I don't care how fast it is, and I know they're stupid fast. They just disintegrate everything on the highway. It's just like a highway roll king. But this is a car that 100% is amazing on the used market and does not make sense to me on the new market. What do we have next? Up next, I have another German car, and that is none other than a Porsche Cayenne. Now, you could really say this about a lot of Porsches. 911s and Caymans, stuff like that, they hold their value pretty well, but Panameras and more specifically Cayennes, these things just plummet in depreciation, just absolutely plummet. I would argue that you're getting a lot for your money, even at, the $90,000, $100,000 that you're paying for these cars new. But when you consider that you can buy a 2013, which is only a couple years old, for 36 grand, this is an over $100,000 car, easy new. It's just incredible. It's mind-boggling to me. What a beautiful SUV. I'm not huge into SUVs, but if you need an SUV, this is the one to have. Just look at the damn thing. This is a GTS, so it basically has the turbo appearance package, but it has a slightly upgraded naturally aspirated V8 engine, which I think is a really good idea for reliability reasons. I wouldn't really want to own a turbo Porsche like a Cayenne out of warranty. It might be a little risky. Now, you could kind of say that about any Cayenne to a certain extent, but for 36 grand, I'm going to take my chances because this thing looks amazing. Now, this is a car like I would consider buying for my wife, or I might buy as a daily driver. Once again, I'm not huge into SUVs, but this is a lot of car for 36 grand. I would never pay $100,000 plus, just knowing that they take such a huge depreciation hit in such a short amount of time. Now, you've obviously noticed a trend at this point in the video. The last car is not a European car. We've done a couple of German cars, but this is actually an American car that I really, really love. I've thought about buying, but I don't think it makes a lot of sense to buy them new. These cars have dropped in value quite a bit recently, and I think they're a hell of a deal for what you're getting. So that is none other than the Camaro ZL1. Now, the ZL1 was launched in 2012 or 2013. It had the supercharged V8, magnetic ride, like all these goodies, and now they're like 30 grand. 30 grand for a pretty good condition one. This thing looks pretty well cared for. Look at this guy's got a Maserati in his garage. That's interesting given what our conversation just was. But these cars are the business, man. With the 5th gen Camaro, they just sorted that thing out. The ZL1 has a ton of horsepower. It's obviously super tunable because it comes forced induction from the factory. Put a smaller pulley on it, headers, tune, all that stuff. Make ridiculous horsepower, 600-700 horsepower, no problem. It's a lot of car for the money. With the magnetic ride, they ride really well, and it's super capable for what it is. You can't see out of them, but who the hell cares when you're going really fast? You don't need to see behind you, right? I think these cars are great. Like I said, I've thought about buying one. I think they're mean looking. Now, from a new point of view, they were right around $60,000 in there. I think they're a lot more now. That's pretty expensive to me for a car like this, especially an American car that you're just going to see a lot of Camaros on the road. Obviously, they're not ZL1s, but someone asks you what you drive, like you drive a Camaro. Cool. I wouldn't want to be paying 60 grand for one, but at $30,000, it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Well, guys, that's basically it for this episode. I wanted to feature a couple different used cars that, like I said, I think are a really good value. I've personally been looking at some of these just to purchase on my own and maybe replace my 911. Let me know if you think that's a terrible idea. I know I have a lot of Porsche subscribers on the channel, and I very much appreciate you. The car's not going anywhere anytime soon. Don't worry. I have some things that I want to do to it before it's sold, but as you could probably already tell from my channel, I tend to like to try different cars, so it will eventually be sold, so I have to look out for what is next. Now, I have my eye on plenty of other cars. It's not restricted to just this list, but in my opinion, this list is a list of interesting cars that are so expensive new and are really good values on the used market. Huge depreciation is bad for the new car owners, but great for you as an enthusiast to be able to pick up so much car for the money. I hope you guys found this video interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What other cars might fall in this category, or what car you think I should buy next when I replace my 911, or not even replace my 911. Maybe I'll just buy another one. I don't know. I got a bigger garage now. Appreciate you guys watching as always. We'll see you next time.